Okay, everyone, it's currently 8:05. So I think we'll get started. We have a few housekeeping notes to address. So I'll let Annie take that away.
Yeah, so hi everyone. So welcome to the second in our live stream series. And yeah, so before we get started, just want to, so if you guys are working on stuff and want to keep your webcams on, that's cool, but we do ask that everyone goes on mute, just to keep the background noise minimal. And if you have any questions, do input it into chat and we'll relay it to Joy. We will also have a Q&A session at the end where everyone can unmute and have a more of a conversation. Just a couple of news items. So we want to again just state that the BMCAA stands in solidarity with the Black community in Canada and abroad in the fight against racism, discrimination, and violence. We do have a feedback form, as we would like to maintain open and communicative atmosphere. So if you do have a concern, a story, any questions, or even any ideas, we are working long-term on some initiatives. So if you do want to give us some feedback, we are circulating that form around. There is also a new entry-level sponsorship in the form of an annual subscription. So if you do choose to be a member sponsor, you will gain access to the copy of the BMC View Book. So again, we also have a form surrounding that. So that will be circulated as well. Finally, we would also like to acknowledge this land on which BMCAA operates. So for thousands of years, it has been a traditional land of the Huron-Wendat, the Seneca, and most recently the Mississaugas of the Credit River. Today, this meeting place is still the home to many Indigenous people from across Turtle Island, and we are grateful to have the opportunity to work on this land. So without further ado, Lisa will give a quick intro to Joy, and yeah, we'll have some fun today.
So I just want to give a quick intro to Joy. Joy is a 2013 graduate of the BMC program. She currently works as a 3D animator at TVASurg, one of our sponsors, whoop whoop. And in 2015, Joy started her side cake business that she's been sort of perfecting over the last few years on her free time. It's garnered quite the audience, and she makes beautiful, beautiful buttercream cakes and cupcakes. So today she's going to be showing you some tools and techniques that she uses to create buttercream cupcakes. She'll be going over a demonstration of 5 different succulents that you can follow along with, and we'll have a period at the end where you can try things out and get some feedback from Joy. So without further ado, I will let Joy begin. Oh, Joy, I think you're muted. Oh, there you go.
Okay. Hi everyone. Thanks for the introduction and thanks for having me here today. So today I'll be showing you guys how to make this succulent cupcake over here. Okay, so this is my first time teaching, so please let me know if I'm going too fast or if not making any sense, so just let me know. So first I will be showing you the tools that I mentioned that I sent out to you guys, and just to give you an introduction of what they do. So first, there's the piping bag, and that's where you put your icing in. And what you usually do is you put this coupler in the icing bag, so then you can quickly change out the tips. Yeah, so then you can quickly exchange tips so you don't have to take the icing out and then put the tip in there. But this is how you usually assemble the icing bag, like this. And then the other more, I guess, specialized tool is the flower nail. This is where you'll be piping most of the succulent elements on here. And what this is good is that you can rotate it as you pipe. So it allows you to make the petal easier with this tool. And oh, and also you don't actually, well, you can directly pipe onto the flower nail, but it's harder to remove the flower from the nail. So I usually put this parchment paper on top, and then I pipe the flower on it, and once it's done, I'll slide it off and put it onto a separate plate, and then that goes into the freezer. So that's how the setup for the tools goes. And I think the other one I mentioned is this flower lifter. You don't really need this, but sometimes I find you use this to kind of like arrange your flower onto the cupcake. You don't really need this if you have like skinny fingers and if your fingers are like not too hot. But sometimes I find this useful just to like nudge things when I put them on the cake. I think, okay, and then so I'm gonna show you the finished product and I'll tell you what piping tip made what. So so here I'm gonna be demonstrating this Pinecone succulent here, and that's gonna be made with this Petal tip. I don't know if it's focusing, but yeah, Petal tip, and I think I said you can usually use 104 to 102 to make. And oh, and then this Petal tip also makes this rose succulent here, and also this rose over here. I used 103 to do these. And then there's these jelly bean ball succulent here. This is typed with the round tip number 10. I think you can also use 12. 12 is a little bit bigger than 10. And then this kind of tallish one over here, well, skinny and tall one over here. This is done with the bigger one, 6B. I think I wrote 4B to 8B. I have a 6B here. The bigger the number, the bigger this hole is. So then the bigger the succulent is. And then these tiny little ones here are made with 199. So you can see they're a little spiky on top. So these are made with, these one are made with 199. And then the accents on top are made with these tiny round ones here. I think I said 2 or 2 to 3 is a good size. So generally what happens is you have the cupcake, you make the buttercream, and then you color the buttercream. And then I'll talk about color a bit later, but what happens is I pipe the rose succulents on the piping nail, and then I put them, after I pipe all the elements, I will then put it onto the tray, and then the tray goes into the freezer for like 10 to 15 minutes until it's hard. And then you take it out so it's easier to manipulate, and then you arrange it on the cupcake. So that's the general step. And am I going too fast? Questions? Let me know. Okay, I think we're good. Okay, so for colors, for succulents, I like to have at least 2 shades of green to give it more like natural look. So here I have 1 shade of green. This is the lighter shade. And then I also have a darker shade of green. I don't know if you can see the color difference. So darker, lighter. What I usually do is I make the darker color first, and then I take a little bit of the darker color and add white to it to make the light color. And this dark color, and I mentioned that I use the gel coloring to color the buttercream because it's not too liquid. If it's too liquid, it will like mess up with the buttercream texture. So for this green that I did, I believe I used juniper green. I usually do like 2 or 3. I don't just use one shade of gel. I like to mix it up so it doesn't look so like out of the box green. So I usually do like a mix of juniper green. I think I forgot to bring it up. And I think I used Kelly green for it, and I added a little bit of yellow to give it more of the yellow tint. And then, so I say I usually do a 2 shades of green, and then I like to do an accent color for the flowers. I don't know if you can see, but this is like a purpley magenta color. It looks kind of gray in the photo, but it's a nice color in real life. So, so this color I made is, I don't know, okay, can't really see, but this color I made, I used purple and a bit of burgundy and a little bit of red to make this shade of color. Okay, so first I'll show you, I'm gonna start with the easier elements first, and I'm gonna, so I'm gonna do this first, this little triple petal flower that goes on to the tall succulent over here. So fill the piping bag, put the coupler in there first. And then just take your spatula. Before you fill your piping bag, I suggest you to kind of like mush your buttercream in your bowl a bit, because you don't want air bubbles in your piping bag. Air bubbles are the enemy, because if you get an air bubble in there, you'll all of a sudden you get this squirt of like, you can't really control the pressure very well. So that's why you don't want air bubbles. So then you just take this and you try to just put it in as far down as possible to avoid air bubbles. This. And then you just kind of squish it down. And this, the triple petal is done with 102, so it's like a smaller petal tip. And then I just clip it in. Oh, and also one tip is, so once you squish, you could, sometimes there's like icing coming out of the other side. What I like to do is I use these like snap clips, I guess, to clip the end. If you don't have it, I think you can like kind of like twirl it around your finger like this so it doesn't come out the other end. So I'm just gonna clip the end here. Right. And I'm gonna just put a dollop of buttercream onto the nail so the parchment stays and doesn't fall off. And then just put your parchment on top. Okay. And what you do for the 3 petal, you're gonna be making little arches. So like in this motion. So when you're holding this, the thinner tip is facing the outside. So the thin is on the outside because you want the petal to look thin. And then the thicker one is towards the middle. So let's see if this is a good angle. If you can't see, just let me know and I'll demonstrate it again. Okay, so I'm just gonna go, so 1. So that's 1. And then starting the second one, you kind of start at the edge of the first one. You could overlap 2 if you want. 2. Oops, like this. Oh, okay. And then 3. Did you guys see that? I'm not sure because I can't really look at the camera and this at the same time. So let me know if you didn't see it.
Yeah, your angle looks good, Joy.
Okay, awesome. Thanks. So this is a 3 petal flower. I'm just gonna demonstrate it again, just in case. It's easier if you rest your elbow on the table to stabilize your hands. So 1. So try to make your petal the same size. It might be hard as your first time to make them the same size. If it's not the same size and you have a gap left, then you could turn it into a 4-petal flower or a 5-petal flower if you want to as well. 2, 3. So yeah, you're turning the flower nail as you pipe. Okay, so what you can do, I usually put a little accent, like a little in the middle. You can do this by putting like using number 2 tip as to put the white dot on. But for me, I'm kind of lazy, so I just use these white pearl things to accent the middle. So I just take tweezer and then if I can grab one, oh my god. And then I just pop it on like that. And I think like without it, it looks less like a flower, but I think it looks good with something in the middle. Okay, so then I just put this off to a plate. And that's the 3-petal one. So next I will demonstrate something similar, the Pinecone. Pinecone succulent. It's also like a similar technique where it's like little arches, but it's they're just more arches than the 3-petal one. So I'm just gonna fill my piping bag again. So for this one, I'm using a lighter green. You can use whatever shade of green you want. For this one, I kind of added a little bit of white in there, and I didn't mix it too well. So then you could see color variation within the succulent, which I think is really pretty. Actually, I'm gonna add just a tiny bit more white in here. And then I'm just gonna roughly mix, not like completely mix, but just rough. Okay. And then on the low piping bag.
Hey, Joy.
Yeah.
If like I've seen a lot of buttercream videos online where they sort of have like a gradient of color. So for example, when you're doing like the petal tips or the pinecone tips, like having like a darker green edge and like a lighter green center. Is there a way to achieve that with butter mixing?
Yeah, so if you want more precise, like where you want the color to go,
Yeah.
you can actually, you have to load your piping bag differently. So you would load like a bit of the purple on this side, and then you would load the green on this side. And then you just have to make sure that your tip, that the purple is, sorry, you want like, I think for like those color, I think I would try to demonstrate it later, but yeah, you want whatever color you want to be in the inside or outside, it has to match your, like the position of the tip after you put it on. But yeah, those are really pretty, the multicolored ones.
We have a question from the audience. Where do you buy your tools, piping bags, tips from?
Bulk Barn definitely has most of the tips that I mentioned today, and piping bag. I think this is a specialized store called McCall's, because they have like a store near Kipling Station, I think, and then but mostly you could get it from Michael's, Bulk Barn, and Amazon. So I'm going to demonstrate the Pinecone succulent now, which is this one here. So for this one, I used tip 103, so it's a bigger one than the 102. You can use 102 as well. It'll just look smaller. And then 104 as well, it'll just look bigger. Okay, so what I do is I start piping a circle with the tip almost like horizontal to the nail. So this gives you a nice like visual guide, so you don't, so to make sure that your succulent is round. And this is going to be about the size, the base size of your Pinecone succulent. So after you do this, and I just start doing the same thing as the 3-petal one. So you just go like this and all around, and rotating your nail slowly as you apply, as you pipe. And you you can see that this petal tip is kind of lifted, and it's all about the angle of this piping bag. So I guess I don't know if you can see, but I'm not putting my piping bag horizontally like this. I have it a bit at an angle like 45 degrees to the nail. Oops. So once you have the base, the second layer, I'd like to start it in between the first and the second petal, just to get the staggering look. And also you'll see that once you pipe a row, you get these residue kind of build up on your tip, and it's good to remove it, or else it kind of carries across the other petal, and it won't look as clean. So there you go. Second row. That's the second row. And then if you see like there's a hole kind of filling in, just kind of fill it in the middle, and then just start your third row. Like this, and just kind of continue until the top. You may notice that the angle of your piping bag, it gets steeper as you go towards the top. And also you're doing less petals on the top. I usually do like 3 on the top, maybe 4. So then this is the succulent, the Pinecone succulent.
Hi, Jerry. We have a question from Julia.
Yeah.
Is there an ideal room temp at which to do this? Will everything melt and fall apart while piping if it's too warm in your house?
Yes. Well, yeah. So I think I don't know what's like the exact temperature, but as long as it should be just your regular like AC temperature. I find cooler the better because your hand tends to warm the buttercream as you keep going. So I usually like to cool down the house and cool down so my hands are cold when I do this. But what you can do is you can also wear gloves on your hands too, so you don't immediately touch the buttercream with your warm hands. And you can also, I've also done where I kept like an ice pack on the side, and then once I'm not using the buttercream, I kind of just lay it on the ice pack. So it's so you'll cool it down and not so warm. But yeah, definitely when it's warm, it's really hard to pipe buttercream because it just becomes too liquidy and it doesn't hold its shape as well. Is that, let me know if that doesn't answer your question. Okay, so I'm just gonna do the Pinecone again. Just to demonstrate, like going a bit quicker this time. So it's about like 6 petals on the bottom. You can kind of see the white edges actually. I'm not sure. I think the lighting is really bad. But I can see there's like a bit of the white edges because we mix, roughly mix 2 colors together. Okay, so that's the Pinecone. Okay, now I'm gonna demonstrate the ball succulent, and that is this one over here. This one. And that is done with the tip number 10 or 12. So I'm just gonna so for this one, it's a bit different. You need to pipe a foundation for the ball. So what you do is you kind of have this tip a bit off the flower nail, and then you just kind of squish until you get a decent size. You think that's like about the size of the ball succulent that you want. And then just like the Pinecone, we're gonna start from the bottom and then work our way to the top. And so what you do here is you just start a bit off, not like touching this foundation, but like a bit off the foundation, and you just kind of push and then quickly release to get the little spiky in. Sorry, that one is not the best, but so yeah, so you just kind of go like this. The quick release is gonna give you the little spike. And then you just continue all the way across. So this is the first row. And then the second row is similar with the Pinecone. You want to start in between the 2 spikes. Like this. And then you just continue. Work your way around. And then if you feel like your Pinecone succulent is too short, you could just add more height on the top. And then just go like this. And then that's the ball succulent here. And the next one I will demonstrate is the rose. So this is the most complex one from today. So for the rose, you need, I'm going to use the accent color, which is this purple here. You need the 103 or any any of those petal tips that you have. Switch it, clean it off. So I'm just gonna put this parchment paper on top. So for the rose, the foundation of the rose is very important. Without it, the flower won't look as put together and it won't structure as well. So to make a foundation, you put your tip kind of perpendicular to the flower nail, and then you're just gonna go back and forth like this to give it some height. So back and forth zigzagging. And then this is, hopefully I can explain this better, but I can demonstrate it later if it's not clear. You're gonna kind of make a cone on top. So it's a bit, so it looks like a sharp kind of butt almost. So what you do is you start from the top like this, and you're gonna go around as you turn your flower nail. So it's almost like you're drawing a 9. Okay, so I'm just gonna show you right now. So kind of like this. So do you see it's kind of like a 9 here? So once you have your foundation, you're gonna go in these, you're gonna move your piping bag in these arches. So also, like the first flower I showed you, always keep the thin part towards the outside because you want the petal on the outside to look thin. So you're gonna make these arches going like in this, with this motion, like this. And then once you do this, and then you turn it again. So I'm just gonna do one for now. So that's going across the foundation. And then I'll do another one to the side. It's roughly about like 3 of these long arches for the middle of the rose, 3 to 4. So have something like this after 3 of these arch shape. And then you just kind of start to clean your tip. And then I like to start just continuing this arch from like also in between the 2 gap here. So just go like this. That. Just arching like this, and notice that the angle of this piping bag is kind of perpendicular to, or it's this way. It's not like so for the middle it's more closed. This is the closed angle, but as you get more, if you want your flowers to open more, your piping tip will start to go like this as you pipe, and that's the more open angle. So I'm just gonna still do a closed angle for now. And once you feel like, okay, I think I got enough of the middle part, then I will start to angle my piping bag out a little bit more to make the petal, to make the rose more open like this. So just kind of continue until you feel like it's a decent uniform flower, like this. Okay, so that's the rose. I could definitely demonstrate it again if you guys are following along and want to kind of unsure of what is happening. Okay, and then I'm also gonna make a green version of it to make the green succulent rose. Parchment paper on top. Okay, so zigzagging again to form a tall foundation, and then making a cone in the shape of a 9. Oops, I think this one, I didn't close it off very nicely, but that's okay, it's fixable. So just arching over the top like this as you turn the nail. So you could kind of see the arch shape on the side, right? So that's the motion that you want to be doing. And then just kind of continue. And then as you move towards the outside, you kind of angle. You could either, I guess, angle your nail a bit this way or your piping tip more out. Okay, and then that's the green version of the same thing. And okay, so after you pipe all the elements, what I do is I pop. So here are everything again. I usually pop these in the freezer for about like 10 to 15 minutes. So, but for this tutorial, I already have some already pre-made, so I can show you guys how I assemble them. So I'm just gonna go grab them from the freezer. Okay, so I have these that I made the other day. The same thing. Pinecone succulents, 2 roses, and the 3 petal flowers, but they're different color. So what I do for assembly, my cupcakes over here. So for assembly, I actually need to pipe the big tall succulent directly onto the cupcake. So that is done with the 6B or 8B. And I don't have a coupler that's big enough for these bigger tips, so I just put them directly in. Sometimes I need to trim the piping bag a bit more to fit these bigger tips. And just make sure, like, when you do have them, like, your piping bag is not touching any of the corners, because if you do, then you lose the nice crisp grooves that it makes. All right, so I'm gonna pipe the tall one with this darker green here. So to pipe that tall one, what I like to do is I like to put the tall one kind of towards the edge a little bit, not in the middle. You could put it in the middle, but I think like just aesthetically it looks nicer on the corner here. So what I do is I hold this perpendicular to the cupcake top and I leave a little bit of space, and then I push down, and then I quickly release. Oh shoot. Sorry, this is not releasing. Sometimes this happens. Oh no. Okay, that was a little fail, but that's okay. Sometimes you have sacrifices. Okay, let me just try this again. But basically, that's the idea. I think it's because I don't have enough buttercream in this bag to give that pressure. So I'm just gonna try to put more buttercream in it. So again, there we go. Okay, so I made this little cute ball one here. And then I'll just do it again here. So just quickly release to get the tip. And then to put the rest of the arrange rest of the elements. Okay, I don't want you. So I just kind of put some foundation buttercream so the other things, the other elements can stay around it. So it sticks to it, kind of like glue, I guess. Okay. So then I take my flour now. I like to put I guess the largest elements on first, because they take up the most space. So for here, I'll just put this rose, and that's I'm using the flour now. You can use your finger as well. So I'm just gonna place it here like this. And then I'll do the same with this one. I have this flower here that I'm just gonna put here. Tools. And then I also have this succulent colored one that I'm just gonna place next to it. Like that. Same thing for this one. And then you have a few more space. These ball succulents are smaller, so you could kind of like just nudge them whenever you have space, like here. So like, because it's frozen, so you can kind of touch it with your hand and it won't lose its shape very quickly. And then for this one, I'm not sure if I have space for both, so I'm gonna put this Pinecone one here. And then I kind of push it in if I feel like it's sticking out too much on the side. And then I have these 3 petal flowers that I kind of just put on the tip of the tall succulent that we just piped directly onto the cupcake, like that. And then you see, like there are gaps. And I feel like if this will fit or not, it might not fit. But just push it like this. So after you put, so that's all like the frozen elements that I'm gonna put on it. And then you can see that there are like still lots of gaps between these big elements. So what I do is I will use the tip 199 and I fill it in. So I just kind of go with a different, usually I like to use a different shade of green for these filler ones, but I think I didn't make enough dark green to put into another piping bag, so I'm just going to use the same color for this one. So you just, same idea, just kind of plop and pull wherever you feel like there's a gap. Like that. And same with this one. So it's more filled in. And then you could also use a different tip. This one is 18, so it's like a more closed one if you want more variation in your succulent. And you just kind of do this. These are smaller. And after you feel like you're satisfied with the proportion and like the arrangement, then you can do these little accents on the short succulent with number 2, and you just kind of go like this onto the tip. I realized I should probably have done the same color when I was doing these before, because now it looks really odd with orange and purple, but it's okay. So yeah, and you just pipe these accent color on top, and you're done. And that's it. I wish I made my colors match better, but that's okay. And that's it. So let me know if you guys have questions and anything I need to repipe or go over again. Thanks for listening.
Thanks, Joy. So we've got some claps going around. Natalie said that these succulents are adorable. Thank you for sharing your talents and techniques. I think we're at the point of our live stream where we'll open it up to the floor. So for anyone who would like to open a discussion or ask questions, feel free to unmute yourself. And if you have some cupcakes or buttercream succulents that you'd like to share, feel free to let me know, and then we can spotlight you so that everyone can see. Or if you're too shy to do that, you can show Joy and she'll give you some feedback and critique, and otherwise we'll have our Q&A session now.
Thanks.
So Joy, where do you get your inspiration for your designs?
Mostly from Instagram and Pinterest. But what I'm trying to do now is for flower in particular, I'm trying to look at more just photos of flowers, and oh shoot, sorry, this always happens. Sorry, I just closed this and then my sprinkles spilled everywhere. Sorry, I will clean this up later. Yeah, so for flowers, I'm trying to look at real life photos and try to make my flowers more realistic that way. So that's my kind of my new goal. But usually for other designs, it's the client usually kind of requests a theme and an idea, and I usually just look on Instagram like what's been done before, and Pinterest or Google. Sometimes I like a previous design, I kind of modify it, or sometimes if I don't see any design that I like, I just kind of Google image like cartoons, or if it's like a fondant design, then I just Google image like a cartoon, and then I try to model it from there. So yeah.
How long would you say your buttercream cupcakes or cakes take you to do?
It depends on the complexity. I think I actually recently kind of timed myself. So to do a 4-inch cake, start to finish, because you have to make the cake, make the buttercream, color the buttercream, and color it to the color that you desire, which actually takes a lot of time. And that, I think everything total probably like 8 to 9 hours for flowers. Like that's like about that's like the most recent photo I posted on Instagram. That one took about from like I think 5 p.m. I started and I finished at midnight. From like completely from baking to making buttercream to making colors to decorating.
And is that for a dozen cupcakes, would you say?
Oh, a dozen cupcakes? Well, yeah, if you're talking about flowers, or because without flowers, it's pretty quick, but each flower takes me about like a minute to pipe. So if it's like a cupcake with 3 flowers, it will take me like 3 minutes, but then arranging, so each cupcake will probably take maybe like 5 minutes to do. So, yeah, I think for 12 dozen cupcake, probably less, or maybe more, because I have to pipe more flowers, because if it's a 3, then it's 3 times 12, so it adds up.
And another question from the audience, where did you learn buttercream flower making, and do you conduct online classes?
I learned, I think in a local bakery. I don't know if you guys heard of La Dolce. They're like a little bakery that does classes. I think they're on Queen Street. Yeah, I think they're on Queen Street. And it was into 2016. I think that's just when like it started being really popular, and I couldn't really find a lot of classes in Toronto. So when I saw that they were doing it, I learned from there. And no, I do not offer any. This is my first time teaching anyone this technique. So, but I am thinking of like, I don't know, because I do video editing as my day job. So I kind of am interested in making like video tutorials. That is on my to-do list.
Thank you.
No problem.
I think there's
So, oh, is there another question somewhere?
it says in the audience, could you quickly demo how to use the flower lifting tool? It was off screen while you were doing it.
Ooh, sorry. Okay, so the flower lifting tool, it's like this. So what I do is I kind of just use it as my finger, and I just kind of, so it holds, you're kind of like holding the bottom of the succulent, and then you just place it onto the cupcake like this. And you just use it as an extension of your fingers, except it's skinnier and not as warm. So that's how. I hope this answers your question.
So if that's it for questions, if no one else has any other questions, I think that we'll be closing off our live stream today. So I'd like to thank Joy for taking the time out of her day to prepare this tutorial and to present this to us. I think it was very, very cute and really fun, and we love all your work. If anyone would like to see more of Joy's work, please follow her on her Instagram at Cozy Oven. She also has a website, so if you'd like some cupcakes or cakes, go let her know. We've got a few thank yous from the crowd, some claps from Andrea.
Thanks, everyone. Thank you for taking time out of your day and watch me blab.
Just want to remind everyone that we have recorded this session and we'll have that edited and posted on YouTube at some point within the next week. So keep an eye out on our email for that. And yeah, thank you, everyone.
No? Yeah, thanks. And if you guys have specific questions on piping, or if you've done it, I want to see it, you could tag me or show me or send me a picture. I'm curious, Manson, did you try? Or Jean?
You don't want to see me.
Oh, sorry.
I'll send you a picture later. Something.
I'll try and post on Instagram once I let them cool and try and put out a cupcake.
I tried my best.
I'm sure.
I'm crying.
Yes, and also hashtag BMCAA live. I think we have, and then we'll also be posting that as well, sharing that with everyone.
I can tag you in my picture, Joy, but I don't think you want to be tagged.
Okay.
This is why you hire a professional.
Yeah, just send me a picture first. Yeah, it's gonna be a bit tricky because like you're not sure like what amount of pressure you need to apply. So like for sure you're not gonna get it on your first try, but as you keep practicing, you'll get it. I wish I could do this in person because then you could see more and I guess yeah, like then I could help you more, but yeah.
This chip smaller? Yes. It's harder to use.
Manson Albert said that now we all want to see your buttercream flowers.
The problem is that, no, step number one, I used coconut cream instead of buttercream, so it's just like, it looks like a massacre.
Is it too like wet?
It was like cream. As soon as I put it in my hand, I like melted the whole thing.
Oh.
My dad was like trying to do it and it's just like pouring everywhere. And then my dad's like, I'm done. I'm going back to Facebook. But yeah.
I think
I need buttercream.
yeah, I've never made buttercream with coconut before, so I can't help you there.
Lauren asks, can you fix icing that's too wet?
Yes. For American buttercream, you just add more icing sugar, so it would just become a bit sweet. But for Swiss meringue, I don't know if you could fix Swiss meringue if it's too wet. Like if you're too wet, as in you added too much liquid to it, I'm not sure if you could fix it by adding more sugar because it's a different process. So if it's if it's the Swiss meringue that's too wet, it's usually because your butter is too warm. So what people usually suggest is you put it back into the fridge to cool it so your butter solidifies, and then you can whip it up better. But if it's just a regular like powdered sugar and butter, you just add more powdered sugar, but it will be sweet.
I'm eating a lot of roses.
Yes.
I added a lot more icing sugar, but look at that. It's so much better.
That's good. Oh, I see someone saying most of my buttercream melted while holding the piping bag. Oh no. Is it a American buttercream? Is it also, did you also use coconut milk or coconut cream like Lance said? But yeah, if for the warm hands, definitely sometimes it is kind of troublesome for buttercream piping, especially if you're piping a lot. So I definitely recommend gloves or an ice pack to cool your hand. I definitely have just done like putting my hand cool on the ice pack for like a few seconds and then back to piping.
My flower is sliding away while I was piping.
Look at that.
Your flower?
Great.
I think I didn't put enough of the cream to fix the paper, the parchment paper.
Oh yes, that's also have happened to me too. Yeah.
We don't
Yeah,
just make flowers.
No, but I want to fucking get this because I'm making like garbage chips right now. It's driving me fucking crazy.
That's way too liquidy.
someone saying something I didn't hear.
I think that's Lauren. Maybe Lauren, did you have a question?
Sorry, I unmuted by accident. I don't have a question.
Okay.
Yeah, thanks everybody for listening. And yeah, if you have any baking specific questions, just email me or message me on Instagram. Yeah.
I did a crappy one.
Let me see.
It jumped out.
Oh no, it was so good.
Fly away. It
Can't
fly
see.
away. Never
Wait, did it
mind.
drop?
Yeah.
Oh no. Yeah, that's also have happened. Any other questions?
Pretty successful.
Yeah, thank you everyone for coming. I think we'll close off for now. Please stay tuned for our next live stream. And yeah, tag us on social media. See you all later.
Oh, I guess I want to put one more thing. So
Oh.
if anyone else, the live stream is open to like everyone in our community. So if anyone has something that they really would like to share, just contact the BMCAA team and we'd be more than happy to provide this platform for you to share your knowledge and skills.
Yeah. And if you're a friend of BMCAA and you would like to share something, that's okay too. Let us know.
Okay. Bye, everyone.
Bye everyone.
Thanks, Joy.
Bye.
Thanks.
Joy.
No problem. Thank you guys. Bye.
That was great, Joy. Thank you.
Thanks. Bye.
Try again later and message me.
Yes, I can't wait.
Already in your messages. Okay, bye.
Bye.